Welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. Let's review this week's battle axe-based characters. And, this is the battle axe itself. But eventually it lost its edge, so to speak, that we have this, originally the battle axe. Let's see the imagery here, 2,000 years ago's version. This originally was all connected into one piece, and the triangle, roughly triangle shape, that was the battle axe, and this pointy thing was probably some pointy thing attached to the edge of it. So it was the ancient weapon, and eventually the language incorporated to, I guess, repurpose it to mean something else. Somehow it became the number fifth. That's related to the heavenly stamps, 10 stamps. So we have 10 digits or sequence where they use the number 4, the first 4, 加一丙丁, use the life journey of the plant to signify each 4 of them. And then when it comes to the fifth, the story of the plant is done. And so it switched to somehow a battle axe. And this was assigned in history by somebody, somehow, sometime, to become the fifth thing that in a sequential way. So this is, and it corresponds to a ton of either it's time or season. And I want to show you here is originally this axe. One of the episodes I showed you how reimagined AI-generated battle axe will look like. So it has the curve here. It curves like that. But during the standardization or 楷书, I guess later generations try to make things easier for themselves when writing. So instead of reflecting the original curve of the battle axe, the curve was flipped over to go this way. And instead of having this hook, it attached to the staff as probably a wood, physically working, making sense version, and this thing become a dot. It's quicker to write. Easy, just placed hovering over there, not attached to anything. But we know it's no longer functioning as a battle axe. Similar looking thing, right? We just add one horizontal line and now make it xu. We have a wu and a xu paired together. It's 1898, a critical year that China, not the last emperor, but one of the last few emperors tried to do reform. Kind of try to go after Japan's model to reinvent itself to become a modern society. And that's a failed attempt. And that happened in this wu xu. This is a xu. After the axe, it still have the whole axe. We just add one horizontal line and it looks like this, right? One horizontal line here. And that may signify just the ground. And then, it just occurred to me 2 possibilities. One is using axe in one, because this one horizontal line also means number 1, just one swing, and then axe somebody. It's almost like execute somebody. Of course, it's in a battlefield situation, so it's ended the life of somebody. And this one simply means this on and off, this critical moment of killing. And the second one is, it could mean ground, that you basically put somebody on the ground. And so it's another interpretation, but in any case, this means ending of things. And the Chinese eventually use this to take out of the context of killing as well, to map it to time, September, or to the months of September and the time, 7 to 9 p.m. As a timekeeper. So this same, right? And here I want to highlight the original version have this floating horizontal line, not attached to anything, but later version attached it. And I feel Chinese try to have all the lines, unless it's a dot, it's a floating without touching anywhere. Chinese probably tend to attach everything. So the starting point of a stroke then would be determined because they have to start along this line, right? You cannot float. Floating element probably was harder to control in its location. So this is a necessity for writing standardization efficiency. Okay, now we have this sideways downward pointing dot. It's not one horizontal line, it becomes a dot. And it turned out here, the whole thing is different. It's no longer the X. We're missing this one side. And this is another Chinese weapon, abstracted. It's dagger spear. So you see a lot of pointy stuff as well. So, I mean, it could be a dagger as well. That's kind of axe-looking shape, and we just get rid of that line. And this spear simply means this staff is longer without, fully drawn out here. But in any case, this is another type of weaponry, and we have a human figure in here. And when in later days, again, this human figure, instead of floating next to the spear, we have it attached to it and kind of conformed to the battle axe shape. So in that case, like nothing new created, we only change the direction of the horizontal line to differentiate it from the xu character. This one is shu, garrison, simply the frontier. And we know that this is weapon and this is a person. So person plus weapon, they are stationed at the frontier of the regime or a land, and that's the definition of a garrison. And then we have rong. This one is self-floating this time because it's already a simplified version of this jia, this shell imagery that came from the seed popping moment, from the seed shell. And the seed shell eventually was used to mean the armor, the protection, surface protection of the weaponry. So we have the weapon spear as the for attacking, and a jia for defending, protecting yourself, right? So this is armor, and this is too hard to draw, I would imagine. So later day, people just swap out the whole thing and make a kind of almost similar looking to, almost like intentionally to confuse us, later people, to have the same line, except it's shifted to the middle, make it almost like a number 10 look, almost like a cross, but with the side lines to the side. And I guess that's a necessity for writing, because here we have a stroke to go to the side. And if we go vertically, it will intersect. And we know originally this was a self-standing thing. So it goes sideways, and that thing goes sideways. The tail switched the direction, right? So go sideways, not touching. I guess that's the purpose why this one got bended down. But again, this is a level of abstraction that omitted most critical information there, which is the shell of that seed, and use that as the protector, protecting gear, the armor. And this abstraction get rid of the shell itself, just remaining the seed popping moment, and have this bend over bottom to confuse us later. All right, yue. So we already know the right side originally means battle axe, and in contemporary Chinese, because this wu became a symbol of something, it was no longer a battle axe. It became an abstract concept of fifths. Now we add the metal to mean the material of the thing, and here is the shape of the thing. Together, it resumed its original identity as a battle axe. And we have this metal imagery and the battle axe imagery together to make sure. And you can see here it's a good abstraction, but it lost the gold nuggets. And that originally was there to signify the mineral condensation underground. All right, so this is maybe how this is a defendable or walled city above the ground. And this is the weapon, the spear again. So this is a place. I guess I have to imagine in ancient times before it was mapped out by somebody. If you're new, you're a traveler, you are new to this place, and you saw this walled city. So there are at least two possibilities. One is you can trade with them, become a partner, business partner of sorts. The other one, they regard you as enemy. They're not friendly to you and kill you. So two possibilities. This walled place with weaponry become a maybe. It's like, ugh. And I guess that's a huge maybe in ancient times, because as a trade person, to develop a new route, go to a new place, try to establish some sort of relationship, it may not end well. But that's the huge chance ancient people had to take. So we noticed the bottom horizontal line means the ground got diagonalized, kind of arrow pointing upward for the ease of writing, so that you can go to the next part of it. So in fact, it was written horizontal line and the mouse symbol and do this diagonal upward thing. And then you come to the top here, go down and add this. So that's the sequence of writing. I mean, it's muscle memory. I can still remember it. But that's the reason why it's no longer horizontal. It points upward to try to connect to this point for the ease of writing. So here we go. I hope I can pronounce them because they look so same, and some of them are not so similar. I mean, some of them are not commonly used in our language on its own. Like this, 戊戌, I know because 1898. Gosh, that's over nearly 150 years ago. 戊戌. And they often pair together because that's the special year. And 戍 means you're guarding the border, and 戎 means the weapons, either offense or defense, you put on to practice basically it's to take up the weapons to defend your country, something like that. And the battle axe, by adding the metal to the side of this already transformed, repurposed meaning of the shape of the battle axe to make it back into the battle axe shape. And then the staggered, speared, paired with the country, become a maybe, because they maybe kill you. And I want to point out here, we attach the human figure, otherwise separately floating underneath, to the frame. And here we attach this horizontal line, can mean one, or heaven or earth, because it kind of positioned in the middle. We don't know it's heaven or earth. And then attached to the side. So there is some positioning change. So in essence, Chinese try to, when it's standardization, try to make it smooth for writing, as in this example, and also make things attached. So things are easier for finding the placement. So you don't like place a random thing, place the next random thing, and how do you position them in relative to each other, right? If you attach them, it's easier to catch it in the space. Something like that. And then we have the super simplification, get rid of the shell to mean armor, and to simplify the golden nuggets to mean gold, eventually metal. So it's interesting that over time, Chinese simplify and pick and choose from the original elements, which probably preserve as much as we can of the original meaning from the natural world, right, physical world. And then in the process of simplifying it, standardizing, attaching it, like integrating it into one character, we lost some of it. And this is what I'm doing here, trying to go back to the origin to see why. and to explain why now everything looks so different in its meaning, even if they share very similar roots. So it's a maybe. I like that we end up with maybe. It's a very, very abstract concept that came from this "you maybe get killed." All right, thank you for your time. See you another day.